What's up, dude? If you're truly an aspiring home cook and you don't yet know how to blast out a perfectly roasted potato, if so, then I'm gonna change that for you today once and for all. And as a bonus, I'm gonna show you a trick that will forever change the way you look at potato peels. Now let's go! Before we begin, I want you to take a look at the potatoes I have before me, and I want you to try and guess how much I paid for them. Here's my very large and handsome hand for scale. Now look at these potatoes. I paid $10 for these, $10. Now you might be thinking, Sonny, they're probably organic. Are they biodynamic? Have they been blessed by monks or something? No, they're just regular potatoes, not even organic. 10 bucks. I did get them at Central Market. Should have gone to HEB, which is the sponsor of, no, I'm just kidding, they're not. But isn't that insane? I was just in my car, just smashing the ceiling, man. I was so mad. I was like, 10 bucks. Look at that. Anyway, I just had to vent about that because what is going on? So these are Yukon Gold potatoes. You could also use russets. Both of those are a great choice when roasting a potato. A couple really quick and helpful tips for choosing a potato is always get one that's super hard. I've been doing this for years now and they always work better. It doesn't matter if you're making mashed potatoes, French fries, roasted potatoes, any kind of potato recipe. The harder the potato, the better your recipe is gonna work out. You gotta just trust me on that one. If your potato has any kind of softness, don't buy it. The next trick is for peeling. Take a fork, just stab it in the potato. This one's especially helpful if you have kids and you don't want to hurt their little hands. You can just peel it with a fork, keeping your hands nice and safe. And honestly, kids or not, it's just fast, efficient, fun. Kind of pick it up and just do the end, pop it out, and just do that little spot right there. And it goes really quick. Probably didn't know this, but these potato skins are literally one of the best snacks you're ever gonna eat. Stick around to the end of the video and I'll show you exactly how to do them. For now, put them in a bowl and we're gonna rinse them out with water 3 times before topping off with fresh water and letting them sit. In terms of the size, I like to look at it first and decide, like that one's 4, that one's 4, that one's 4, that one's 4, that one's 6, that one's 6, that one's kind of between 6 and 4. I'll probably do 4 on that one too. And what I mean by that is just as a 4, right? I like a bigger size when I'm doing a roasted potato. Something like this for me is absolutely perfect. This one that was a 6. You don't want to do it into a 4 because they need to be around the same mass so they cook evenly. So that one goes in a 6. That way your 6 and your 4 are roughly the same size. So just go through the potatoes. You could cut them a little smaller or even a little bigger if you want. It's all valid. As soon as they're sliced, straight into some cold water. This is going to remove some of that excess starch. If you have the foresight, doing this the day before can actually be really helpful to pull out even more starch, which is going to make them in the end fluffier. However, you can absolutely just do it like this. Now here I've got the water already boiling. You can start them in cold water. It works both ways. But the reason I do this is because we're trying to break down the edge of the potato more before the inside is fully cooked. And so we need to season this water, going in with a little more than a tablespoon of salt to about 4 quarts of water. It'll all be listed in the description. And here we go. In with the potatoes. When you make roasted potatoes, you really want to take them a little bit too far. Like you think they're almost overcooked, almost falling apart, but not quite. There's a fine line there of where you kind of want to take them out. Just don't undercook them. Better they're overcooked, honestly. If they're undercooked, they're not going to work out too great. Another trick made popular by Kenji Lopez is putting baking soda in the water, which is supposed to break down that edge of the potato more. And that does work, but honestly, I've done it both ways and I don't notice some huge drastic difference. So do whatever you like. And as these cook, just jump in here every 5 minutes and give them a good stir. And this actually begins that process of breaking up the edge of the potato before they ever come out of the water. We're looking for that scraggly little texture on the outside, which you'll see here in a minute. Now, while those potatoes boil, let me tell you about my toxic relationship with coffee, which after a cup of it always leaves me feeling a little bit jittery and anxious. And look, I like the come up of coffee, but the inevitable crash that always happens to me is what I despise, which then starts the vicious process of having another cup, and then your sleep is affected, and then it no longer works, and the whole thing is just honestly a mess. Personally, in my life, I'm always on the search for coffee alternatives, which is why I'm proud to present today's sponsor, Mudwater, which gives me the all-day energy I really need without any of the crash or the jitters. It's good stuff. For me, Mudwater was the perfect fit because it has a blend of all the things I already love to take. The cacao and chai are there for a hint of caffeine and a hot chocolate-like flavor. Think if hot cocoa and chai had a baby, that's what Mudwater tastes like, and it's awesome. The lion's mane is there for focus and the cordyceps are there to promote natural energy, while both the chaga and the reishi mushrooms support a healthy immune system. Plus, it's Whole30 approved, 100% USDA organic and non-GMO. I've been off the coffee and on the mud water for a full week now, and I do feel better. Look, if you've been on coffee for your whole life and never tried an alternative, I highly suggest you give mud water a try. You will feel different. And right now they're hooking up my viewers with a special offer. If you go to mudwater.com/ThatDudeCanCook, you can get started for just $29. That's mudwater.com/ThatDudeCanCook. Now let's get back to these roasted potatoes. While the potatoes are cooking, we're gonna make one of my favorite condiments to have in the fridge. That's garlic mayonnaise. Super easy. Starting with 1 whole egg, a little bit of water, that helps the mayonnaise get really light and fluffy. Some fresh garlic going in, not too much. I don't want this to be like pungent with garlic. I want it to be nicely balanced. Lemon juice and just some regular old white vinegar. I actually prefer just cheap white vinegar as opposed to white wine vinegar. I think it's really good. Now we're gonna start by blending just these ingredients first. About a minute of blending, and you can see, look at how the color has changed so drastically. It's almost white now. That's what we want. At this point, I'm gonna add the salt. Now we're gonna return to blending while we stream in some avocado oil. You could use another neutral oil. I just like avocado oil. It's healthy, and there's very little flavor to it. Here we go. Just don't put too much in at a time. You can just stream it in, not too much. Just have a look at it, right? See how kind of thick it is. You can do it thinner, you can do it thicker. I like my mayonnaise on the thinner side, but thicker is fine too. Now I'm gonna finish it with a little bit of olive oil. You don't wanna put that in too early or you're gonna end up with a sort of bitter mayonnaise if you do all olive oil. So just a little to finish. Keep looking at it, and also remember, as this goes in the fridge, it's gonna thicken up a lot, especially when it's in there overnight. So always go a little on the thinner side. Now be a good little chefy. Taste, taste, taste. That's nicely balanced, really good. I'm just gonna add a touch more oil, and it's good to go. I love the level of garlic and salt, just spot on. And there we are. And there you have it, some really light, fluffy garlic mayonnaise. Stick that in the fridge, use it up within 5 to 6 days. And trust me, you're gonna be so happy just to have this around. It really is fantastic. The next garnish is gonna be some nice smoky bacon, and I love cooking it like this. And this was in the freezer. It's just been out for about 15 minutes to kind of sort of halfway thaw. That is a really great way to get really concise, finessed little pieces of bacon. Now, I'm gonna slice it this way. I don't know if you've ever tried to slice bacon that's too like room temp. It's really hard to do, especially if you want a piece like I want. We're making our own bacon bits. So across, turn them sideways, and then from here we'll slice into nice little tiny squares like so. Drop those straight into a cold pan. Always liked this process of making bacon bits. Throw that on a medium heat, and we're just gonna let this bacon slowly render down. We wanna stir it pretty frequently, and then it's gonna deep fry in its own fat as all of it comes out. My awesome brother Lewis actually sent me this bacon from Vermont, and it's made in that old style. It smells so smoky, I can't even explain it to you. You know when you're standing over a campfire all day, it smells like that, and I love it. When it's close to being done, it's gonna get all white and foamy like this. What you want to do here is just carefully remove some of the bacon bits so you can get a good look at them. Kind of hard to see under that sea of foam. Very, very close. These are just the best bacon bits ever when you cook it like this, as opposed to just baking it and chopping it up. I don't know, something special about it deep frying in its own fat. It's almost like confit bacon. Okay, that looks good to me. Drain her in a bowl, and I mean, just look at those things. Something special about these. I'll let these drain for a few minutes, then set them aside for later. For our final garnish, we're going to be working with some chives, which is my personal favorite herb. Amazing restaurant trick I learned for these. Take a damp paper towel, fold it once, fold it twice, lay it like this. Take the chives and just lay them there. And now we're gonna roll them up. And you want it to be firm, but not like super, super tight. And that's gonna hold them together really well as you slice them. And as a bonus, if you put this in a Ziploc bag and then store it in your fridge, it's gonna last for so much longer. Your next best friend here is gonna be a really sharp knife. Use the sharpest knife you have. If you don't have a sharp knife, they're gonna bruise. There's just no way around it. That's okay, but sharp knife is key. Now, I always like to take off the tips because they get a little dried and frayed. And then I'm just gonna go slow, and I'm just gonna slice. When you slice chives really nicely and you use that as a garnish on your food, I swear to God, it just makes everything look super professional. I know in a lot of high-end kitchens, they might have a chef slice chives to see if he's the real deal, right? Slicing chives and making scrambled eggs. There we go. Those look pretty good, right? The potatoes behind me have been going for 20 minutes. It's at this point where we wanna start to heat up our pans. You could also use a sheet pan for this, although these days it's hard to find one that doesn't warp in the oven. And because there's gonna be so much oil involved, that warping is something you just don't want to deal with. And if you've been on the internet for a minute now, you're gonna see people recommend goose fat, beef fat, duck fat, and let me tell you something, they are right. However, as a home cook, sometimes it's hard to find those products, so there's nothing wrong with just using a high smoke point neutral oil. This is peanut oil. You could use another one if you like. I just like the cleanness of peanut oil. And you see I'm putting a lot of oil, right? This is how you make roasted potatoes. You could definitely recycle this if you want. want. And I'm also taking a bit more oil here in a pot. You'll see why. I use this in a minute. I'm gonna put both these pans straight into a 400-degree oven. Preheating the pans with the oil is absolutely essential if you want a good roasted potato. In they go. Potatoes have been going for 26 minutes at this point. I can see them starting to get textured around the outside. To tell if one is done, just pop it out. I always just take a little thermometer or something like this. Goes in real nice and easy. But again, like I said, you want to take them a little bit further than you think. And if some of them break apart for the next step, that's absolutely fine. It's worth it to have a great roasted potato. 28 minutes total. Now let's strain these off. Be careful when you dump them in the strainer. You don't want to just dump it super aggressively. And also be careful when you dump it back into this pot. Don't want to break them apart too much, right? This is a delicate process. Before the next step, let them steam in this pot for about 5 minutes so they can dry out a little bit. Now they're getting another little seasoning of salt. Of course, the salt was already in the water, but when we're thinking about cooking, we're building layers of seasoning, layers of flavor, and this is a great way to do that. They do need a little more salt. And now this is probably the most important part of the whole video. Watch closely. We're gonna begin just gently shaking these. And what we're doing right now is creating those crispy, craggly bits on the edge. And you can see it already on camera, right? See how it's whitening around the outside? As I'm shaking them too, I'm gonna do a little more salt just because I had it on that one side. And now here we go. Just watch them carefully. You know, some of them might break apart. That's okay. You might get some smaller pieces. It's just fine, right? You can make this easier too if you want to put it into a bowl, but then you're dirtying up another bowl. And this is working out so well. Look at this. Just take a really good look at all this stuff right here. That is just exactly what you're looking for when you want to make a really nice roasted potato. I'm going to take it a little further. You can see that a few of them are breaking apart, but absolutely fine. It's not a problem. Always happens when you make roasted potatoes. Just like this. I'm going to leave it at that as I'm really happy with that texture right now and I don't want them to break apart more. That's just perfect. Woo! Now, my friends, be very, very careful, please, when you're doing this. This oil, I just temped it. It's sitting around 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And now what we're going to do is carefully drop in these potatoes and you'll see that they're starting to sizzle already. Oh, yeah. Ah, man. Whoever says British food is bad has never had a really good roasted potato. They've come a long way, all right? Other pan here. And I wouldn't recommend you crowd it any more than I'm doing right here. Something like this looks good. Now, here's the thing. You want to toss these after you put them in the oil, but when you do that, you risk breaking them apart even more, which is why I put the oil in this pot and then heated it up to the same temperature, 350. And now you can just dump it over the potatoes without having to turn them again. And this is going to make it so you don't have to turn them as much in the oven either. I might turn them once or twice, but without this hot oil on top, you're going to have to turn them more. So boom, there. Now you no longer have to mess with them and they can go straight back into that 400-degree oven. I know that may seem like an absurd amount of oil to you, but trust me, any good restaurant makes their roasted potatoes just like that, and I've worked in a lot. After 25 or 30 minutes, these are ready for a flip. Just be careful, guys, when you're working with hot oil. Wow, oh my God. You can see how glassy and crispy these are. Man, these look so good. As I'm flipping them here, I just got a big smile on my face because I can already tell, like, these are gonna be 10 out of 10 roasties right here. Wow, wow, wow. Incredible. Back in the oven. I'll give you the time when they come out. Oh my God. There we go, my friends. Another 20 minutes or so for about 50 minutes total. These are done now. Man, they look good. I'm just getting them out onto a bowl here with some paper towel. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, don't discard this oil. It is for those peels, which we'll do before finishing the dish. Sergeant Gilbert reporting for duty. A little bit of black pepper. I like it. I like a little bit on the potato right here, right when they come out of the oil. Paper towel has done its job. Listen, I want you to pay attention to that sound, because that's the sound of a good roasted potato, right? They sound hard and glassy, crunchy. Woo! You can also add some crushed garlic and fresh herbs in that last 10 minutes of cooking if you want. Thyme, rosemary, and sage will be your most common options, although because of all the garnishes we have on these loaded roasted potatoes, I just saw it as overkill. But if you're just making them as a standalone dish, definitely feel free to add those herbs. Now, potato peels, my God. I think I almost threw these away. To be honest, I throw them away a lot of the time. If I'm being honest, I do, because I don't always have fryer oil handy. But when I'm in the mood, this is so good, right? I'm just drying them off. You want to get them as dry as possible. So what I'm going to do now is carefully combine my oils. Let's temp this. I want it around 375. Still pretty hot, right? Because it just came out of the oven, but it needs a little more heat. All right, friends, here we go. Don't put too many at once, all right? You don't want to learn the hard way. Wait, watch what it does. You got like a 10-second window to add more peels. And if you do what I do and you use the same pan, your brain's going to be like, that pan's not hot. And you're going to go, ah, achha. classic thing you can do in a kitchen, universal symbol, that's a hot pan. If there's a towel on it like that, it's hot. It's been in the oven, right? So that's what I would do, is just keep that towel there. You're not gonna catch me with any oven mitts. I just can't bring myself to put a little lobster claw on my human hand. It's not gonna happen. Just about 5 minutes of frying. When they're nice and golden brown, get them into a bowl with paper towel here. Wow, man, these look so puffy and crispy and delicious. And then I'll fry the rest. Now, while these peels are still hot, we're gonna season them right away. You can use any seasoning you like. I'm using rosemary salt. It's a homemade herb and garlic seasoning we make on the channel. I'll put a link to that recipe and video in the description. That's it, going down. And then if you like, some Parmesan cheese, freshly grated, toss that in. Really nice salt and flavor. Man, I tell you what, for something you could put in the trash, that is beautiful. Check that out. Look at that. All right, my friends, let's plate up the roasted potatoes, finish it with the garlic mayo, the chives, and the bacon. Let these videos serve as inspiration for you. Let the kitchen be your playground, not your detention center, all right? If you don't want to put all the chives and bacon, and if you don't want to make the garlic mayo, I hold nothing against you, right? The point is, learn the technique for the base roasted potato. From there, you can do what you want. Marcus, anything to add to that?
Load it how you want.
Perfect. Okay. First, Marcus, chips. Yup. Dude, it's gonna be funny if these are actually better than the potatoes. Good luck eating one of those.
They taste so good.
They're really, really yummy.
If you like popcorn, eat 8 million of these.
Grab a potato, Marcus. Get a loaded one. How about this one? And then, hold on.
Sauce me up.
Yeah, little extra mayonnaise on here.
All right, I'll wait for you.
Oh, damn it, dude. And here we go. Oh. Whoa. The potatoes are great on their own, but when you have the chives, the bacon, and the mayonnaise to bring that acidity and freshness, holy God, that is good.
I've never had potatoes like this. I've had potatoes where people cube them up and then they roast them in the oven, and I've never really liked them like that. The textures are way different. It's so creamy in the middle.
Marcus said it right. Insane crunch on the outside, like crunchier than a French fry.
Yeah.
And then creamy, almost like mashed potato-like in the middle.
It really is. Like, I don't like steak fries. I don't like super thick. This is not that. You gotta give these a try. They're crazy.
Make these, my friends, and have fun with it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you're interested in written recipes, down in the description will be a link for my new ebook called Master in the Making with 55 of my personal favorite recipes. Down there, you will also find links to a lot of products and equipment that I love to use here in this kitchen if you're looking to stock your own. And if you want to keep learning today, here are 2 more potato recipes that are seriously incredible. These Dauphinoise potatoes are a must try. Until next time, you know I love you and I'm out.